Hey, it's your girl Celeste from That Soy Life, where I teach about astrology, consciousness, and simple budget living for New Earth moms. Did you know that the symbol for the sign Virgo is actually a virgin or a maiden? Well, once upon a time, the idea of virginity was not what we know it to be today, which is about sexual abstinence. Virgo is the sixth zodiac sign in the natural zodiac, and it is mutable, which means that it's about movement and change. And it is also an earth sign, which means that it's about the tangible, what we can see, what we can touch, what we can feel, like with our hands, with our bodies. It's ruled by Mercury, and some astrologers are starting to believe that it is ruled also by Chiron, or maybe not also. It is ruled instead by Chiron. As new planets are discovered and new information is found in the astrological scene, you'll see that things shift. So for example, the discovery of Pluto, that was huge, and that really changed things in the astrological scene. So if we start at the first house, which is ruled by the archetype of Aries, that house is about identity. And then we move on to the second house, which is about values and survival, material possessions. Then we move on to the third house, which is ruled by the archetype of Gemini, and that house is about communication and about gathering information and about labeling things. So this is where we start to form our perception and to give labels to our perception so that we can communicate them. In the fourth house is where we talk about roots, and it's ruled by Cancer. Roots, family, foundations, our heritage, where we come from. And then in the fifth house, once our identity has been built, in the first, second, third, and fourth house. In the fifth house, this is where we present ourselves to the world, in Leo, where we shine, we go on stage, and we say, okay, this is my unique contribution to the world, this is me, this is who I am, this is what I have to offer. And then we move to the sixth house, which is Virgo. In the sixth house, which is opposing the 12th house, we have our daily sacred rituals. So things like brushing our teeth, washing our face, eating good food, taking care of our bodies, exercise, the way we tend to our pets, the way that we care for ourselves. And the daily practical tasks, the things that we need that help bring dignity to our physical life, and that honor our bodies as a physical vessel. As the physical vessel for our souls and for our spirits. And so if you look at the natural zodiac, you'll see that the sixth house is opposing the 12th house, which is Pisces, ruled by Neptune. So here in the 12th house, we have the everything, with the great source. Everything. It's the great everything. It's the return to source. And opposing it here, we have the sixth house, which is about our daily lives and our daily practices and our health and how we care for ourselves, the processes that we use and that we go through in order to build our lives. So here we have the practical, tangible things that we need to do in order to make our lives successful and feel good and to care for our bodies and to live in a way that is dignified. And this sixth house supports the 12th house, which connects us to our soul and to our spirit. So you see here the dichotomy between soul and spirit and physical body. So our soul supports our incarnation to our physical body, and our physical body supports our connection to our soul through the way that we care for ourselves and the way that we tend to our bodies and the way that we tend to our health. In the first to fifth house, we have been building a pyramid. So this fifth house here is the pyramid, which is, first house, second, third, fourth, and fifth. And at the top, we have Leo. And Leo is where we shine and where we go out into the world and we present ourselves. And we know that the archetype of Leo is really about the ego, and it's about self-expression and self-actualization, and it's about the self. And if you think that we're building a pyramid with Leo at the top, when we get to the sixth house, we kind of flip that pyramid on its head, where we are not at the top anymore, we're at the bottom. So how does that work? Well, that flipping is what the service of Virgo is about. When we flip that pyramid and we see ourselves at the bottom of it, it's not because we are lower than everybody else, but rather that is our position of service. And that happens because in the sixth house, we understand our relationship to everything else, which is in the 12th house. So we, as individuals, we understand that we are connected to the everything. And like the great master Jesus said, do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. And the golden rule, do to others as you would want done to you. That is the golden rule, because when you do to yourself, you are actually doing to others. And when you do to others, you are actually doing to yourself, because we all breathe the same breath of spirit life. We are all connected. And it's the great breath of life that everything that's living breathes. And that's what the Virgin is. The Virgin is committed to service and committed to purity, and not just or not necessarily sexual purity, but purity in the sense of how you care for your body. So the definition of virgin, the original definition of virgin, was one who is unto herself. So it is about self-ownership. And so this self-ownership in the 6th house has to do with your understanding of your connection to your soul. So because you understand that you are a soul incarnated in a body, you understand that there are things that support and things that diminish your soul connection. And so that's why the 6th house has to do with food and health, like the way that you care for your physical vessel, the way that you tend to your body, of course, has an effect on your spiritual connection and on the way that you go out in life. That's why it has to do with your sacred daily rituals, the way that you take care of yourself, the way that you value and tend to your physical vessel, the way that you set up your life in a way that is supportive of your soul's journey. So this is the 6th house, 12th house dichotomy, and that purity isn't necessarily or only sexual purity or sexual abstinence. And of course, it is sexual purity in part because the way that we connect our bodies with others, like the context and the way that we choose to do that, of course that would have an impact on our bodies. But it's also the purity that has to do with the way that we choose to run our lives, the activities that we choose to include in our lives, the things that we choose to include in our days, the way that we choose to use our time, the way that we process and organize our lives so that the practical and tangible steps that we are taking are in alignment with the bigger picture of our soul's journey. So having lots of Virgo and lots of 6th house energy in your chart can have you feeling tied up on perfectionism, having you feeling a sense of not moving because of this fear of not being perfect. And this is your encouragement today that the Virgo archetype is not actually about perfection. It is about the process, and it is about purity in the process. So understanding what the greater mission is for you in the 12th house, and then establishing daily steps, concrete, daily, tangible steps that will support your movement and your forward process on towards your own growth. So I ask you today, where is Virgo in your chart? And where is Mercury, the ruler of Virgo? Which house is it in? Which sign is it in? I'm Celeste, mom of 6, evolutionary astrologer, and your hookup for conscious, budget-friendly living at thatzoilife.com. If you enjoyed this video, or if you have any questions or would like to see more, please comment below. If you're interested in hearing more about how to build a life that is budget-friendly and in alignment with your values, go to my website that's listed below. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again.